1. There are over 7,000 languages in the world. Linguists estimate that there are around 7,151 living languages in the world today. However, this number constantly changes as languages evolve, merge, or sadly, die out. What's more fascinating is the diversity among these languages. Papua New Guinea holds the record for the most languages spoken in a single country, with over 800 distinct tongues. This cultural and linguistic diversity reflects the rich history of human migration and settlement. However, nearly 40% of these languages are considered endangered, with fewer than 1,000 speakers each. Languages are grouped into families based on shared origins. For example, English, Hindi, and Persian all belong to the Indo-European language family, while Mandarin and Cantonese are part of the Sino-Tibetan family. There are also isolated languages, like Basque in Spain, which have no known relatives. Modern technology has played a dual role in language preservation and loss. While digital platforms enable people to document and share endangered languages, globalization often leads to the dominance of major languages like English, Mandarin, and Spanish, overshadowing smaller ones. Despite this, efforts are ongoing to preserve linguistic diversity through initiatives like the Endangered Languages Project. Languages are more than communication tools, they are carriers of culture, history, and identity. The loss of even one language represents the disappearance of centuries of human thought and tradition. 2. The longest alphabet belongs to Khmer. The Khmer language of Cambodia holds the record for having the longest alphabet in the world, with a total of 74 letters, 33 consonants, 23 vowels, and 12 independent vowels. This alphabet, called Aksar Khmer, is both unique and complex, reflecting the rich history of Cambodia and its cultural evolution. The Khmer script is based on the ancient Indian Brahmi script and has been in use for over 1,000 years. Interestingly, the script is not just long but also intricate, requiring meticulous attention to detail. It uses a combination of dependent and independent vowels, with consonants having inherent vowels that can change based on their position in a word. The script is written left to right, with no spaces between words, making it challenging for non-native readers. Khmer is also the official language of Cambodia, spoken by nearly 16 million people. Beyond its impressive script, the language plays a significant role in preserving Cambodia's cultural heritage. Religious texts in Khmer, particularly those related to Theravada Buddhism, are central to the country's spiritual practices. In contrast, some languages have the shortest alphabets, such as Rotokas in Papua New Guinea, which uses only 12 letters. The Khmer alphabet serves as a testament to the diversity of linguistic systems around the world, showcasing how languages adapt to fit the cultural and communicative needs of their speakers. 3. The first written language dates back 5,000 years. Writing is one of humanity's most transformative inventions, and the first written language, Sumerian, emerged over 5,000 years ago in ancient Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq. The Sumerians developed a writing system called cuneiform, which started as pictographs and evolved into a series of wedge-shaped symbols pressed into clay tablets using a reed stylus. This invention marked the beginning of recorded history. Sumerian writing was primarily used for practical purposes, such as recording trade transactions, agricultural data, and legal contracts. However, it also included literature, hymns, and epic tales like the famous Epic of Gilgamesh. Considered one of the oldest literary works in the world, cuneiform writing spread beyond Sumer and was adopted by other civilizations, including the Akkadians, Babylonians, and Assyrians. Although Sumerian ceased to be a spoken language around 2000 BCE, it continued to be used as a written and ceremonial language for centuries. The emergence of written language allowed societies to preserve knowledge, administer large states, and develop complex cultures. It laid the foundation for modern communication systems, from alphabets to digital texts. The story of Sumerian reminds us of how far humanity has come in its quest to document and share its experiences. 4. The most widely spoken language is English. English is the most widely spoken language globally, with over 1.5 billion speakers, including both native and non-native users. While Mandarin Chinese has the most native speakers, over 918 million, English holds the title of the world's lingua franca, being used as a common language in international business, science, aviation, and the internet. The global dominance of English can be traced back to historical events. The expansion of the British Empire in the 18th and 19th centuries spread English to countries across Africa, Asia, and the Americas. Later, the rise of the United States as a global superpower in the 20th century further cemented English's position as a global language. Interestingly, English is a Germanic language with heavy influences from Latin, French, and Old Norse. This mix of influences gives English its vast vocabulary, with over 1 million words, making it one of the richest languages in the world. English is also the primary language of the Internet, with more than 60% of all online content being in English. This digital prevalence continues to grow, especially with the spread of social media, streaming platforms, and e-learning resources. Despite its global reach, English presents challenges to learners due to its irregular spelling and grammar rules, yet its adaptability and capacity to absorb new words make it a dynamic and ever-evolving language. 5. Sign language is not universal. Many people mistakenly believe that sign language is universal, but there are over 300 different sign languages in the world, each with its unique grammar, vocabulary, and cultural nuances. For example, American Sign Language, ASL, and British Sign Language, BSL, are distinct languages and are not mutually intelligible. Sign languages develop naturally in deaf communities, just as spoken languages evolve in hearing communities. They are full-fledged languages with their own rules for syntax, word formation, and expression. ASL, for instance, originated from French Sign Language and incorporates a one-handed alphabet, while BSL uses a two-handed alphabet. Sign languages also reflect the cultures they come from. In Japan, Japanese Sign Language, JSL, incorporates elements of Japanese writing, while in Ghana, gestures and expressions are influenced by local traditions. There are even regional dialects within sign languages, making them as diverse as spoken languages. Efforts to create a universal sign language such as Gestuno have faced challenges due to the richness and complexity of existing sign languages. However, International Sign is used in some international contexts, such as deaf conferences or events like the Olympics. 6. The hardest language to learn depends on your native tongue. The difficulty of learning a language varies greatly depending on your native language and its linguistic similarities to the target language. For example, English speakers often find Mandarin, Chinese, Arabic, and Japanese among the hardest languages to learn due to their complex writing systems, tones, and grammatical structures. However, for a native Japanese speaker, learning Chinese may be easier because of shared characters. Mandarin Chinese is challenging because it uses a logographic writing system with thousands of characters, and its tonal nature means that the same word can have different meanings depending on how it's pronounced. Arabic has a script that changes depending on the word's position and lacks many vowels, making pronunciation difficult. Japanese is complicated by its 3 writing systems, hiragana, katakana, and kanji, each with specific uses. On the other hand, languages closely related to your native tongue are typically easier to learn. For English speakers, languages like Spanish, French, and Dutch are less challenging because they share vocabulary and grammatical structures. The Foreign Service Institute, FSI, of the U.S. Department of State has categorized languages by their difficulty for English speakers. For example, Category 1 languages like Spanish and Italian take around 600 hours of study to reach proficiency, while Category 4 languages like Mandarin and Arabic require over 2,200 hours. Learning a language is not just about memorizing words and grammar. It's about understanding the culture, idioms, and way of thinking that the language embodies. This process can be both challenging and rewarding, offering a deeper connection to the world's diversity. 7. Some languages are whistled, not spoken. In a few remote areas of the world, languages are not just spoken, they are whistled. Whistled languages are a fascinating form of communication that relies on variations in pitch and tone to convey meaning. These languages are often used in regions with rugged terrains, such as mountains or dense forests, where whistling can carry farther than spoken words. One of the most well-known whistled languages is Silbo-Gomero, used by the inhabitants of La Gomera in the Canary Islands. Silbo Gomero can be used to communicate messages over distances of up to 3 kilometers. It mimics the tonal patterns of the spoken Spanish language, transforming them into whistles. Another example is the whistled form of Turkish known as Kuşdili, bird language, used in the village of Kuşköy. Similar whistled languages are found in parts of Mexico, Brazil, and West Africa. Whistled languages are not just unique, but also endangered. Modern technologies like cell phones have reduced the need for this form of communication. However, efforts are being made to preserve them as part of cultural heritage. For example, Silbo Gomero is taught in schools on La Gomera to ensure its survival. These languages showcase the incredible adaptability of human communication, proving that language is not confined to speech or writing, but can take on entirely different forms. 8. The Bible is the most translated book in the world. The Bible holds the record as the most translated book in the world, having been translated into over 3,500 languages as of 2023. This includes complete translations of the Bible, as well as partial translations of the Old Testament, New Testament, or individual books. The goal of making the Bible accessible to people in their native languages has been a driving force behind this monumental achievement. The process of translating the Bible is incredibly complex. It involves not just linguistic expertise, but also a deep understanding of cultural and theological nuances. For instance, metaphors and idioms in the original Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek texts often don't have direct equivalents in other languages, requiring careful interpretation. The translation of the Bible has a long history. The first major translation was the Septuagint, a Greek version of the Hebrew scriptures completed around 200 BCE. Later, St. Jerome's Latin Vulgate became the standard Bible of the Catholic Church. Today, organizations like the United Bible Societies and Wycliffe Bible Translators continue to work on bringing the Bible to even the most remote and lesser-known languages. The widespread translation of the Bible has had a profound impact on global literacy and cultural development. In many parts of the world, Bible translation projects have introduced written scripts for previously unwritten languages, providing communities with tools for education and preserving their linguistic heritage. 9. There are dead languages that no one speaks anymore. Languages, like living organisms, can die. A language becomes extinct when it no longer has any living speakers. Latin is one of the most famous examples of a dead language. While it is no longer spoken as a native language, it remains influential as the root of the Romance languages and as the official language of the Roman Catholic Church. Other dead languages include ancient Egyptian, Sumerian, and Sanskrit, though Sanskrit is considered liturgical and is still used in religious contexts. These languages have left behind a wealth of written texts, enabling modern scholars to study their grammar, vocabulary, and cultural significance. The extinction of languages often results from colonization, globalization, or cultural assimilation. When a dominant language replaces a minority language, the latter can fade into obscurity within a few generations. UNESCO estimates that nearly half of the world's 7,000 languages are at risk of extinction by the end of the 21st century. 10. The longest word in any language has 189,819 letters. The longest word in the world, according to some records, is a chemical name for the protein titin. This word has 189,819 letters and takes over 3 hours to pronounce. It is so long that it is not listed in dictionaries and is primarily used as a scientific curiosity. However, in practical terms, languages have many long words with specific cultural or linguistic significance. For example, in English, pneumon-ultra-microscopic silico-vulcan-oconiosis is the longest word listed in major dictionaries. It refers to a type of lung disease caused by inhaling very fine silica particles. In German, compound words like Donnerdampfschiffahrtselektrizitätenhaar, Hauptbetriebswerk Bau unter Beamtengesellschaft, which refers to an association of subordinate officials of the head office of the Danube Steamboat Electrical Services, are common due to the language's ability to string together multiple words.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more inspiring content. See you in the next one.